We are now on Daf Ayin Zayin Omid Beis. And we are towards the bottom of the Amud. And let's see if we can count up from the bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lines up from the bottom. Rabbi Yehuda ben Pazi. Now we've discussed a Nachal, a river that has rapid water and it's very dangerous. That's called Redife Maya. And this is going to be the Nachal that Liyosid Lovo is going to come out of the Kodesh Kadoshim. And we discussed yesterday whether even going with a boat, not just a raft, might be dangerous. So again, we're talking about this Nachal that Liyosid Lovo is going to come out of the Kodesh Kadoshim, and even a Malach is afraid of traversing such a Nachal. Lavar means to go across a Nachal, a river. And how do I know this? The Torah says in describing this Nachal, Bal telech bo ani shayat. That was a pasuk in Yeshayahu and Novi. Oniyah hashot b'mayim. Even a small boat is afraid of these waters, of these rapids. As far as the Sfina Gdola is concerned, a larger ship, the pasuk says, "Vitzi adir lo yavired," that even a large boat should not be passing through this river. So from the pasuk Bal telech bo ani shayat, we're going to compare the word shayat to the same word, or in a different conjugation, as it appears not in Sefer Yeshaya, but in Sefer Iyov. Where does the word shayat appear in Sefer Iyov? In the book of Job. Siv Hasam, and I'm going to read the entire pasuk. Vayomer Hashem ala Satan, me'ayin tovo. Vayana Satan al Hashem vayomer mishut ba'aretz u'mishalech ba. So you see the word shut? That is the same 3 letters as shayat. I mean, the yud changes to a vav, but it's the same shoresh, same word. And what does this mean? Lo yelech benachal kol mi sheyachol loshet. Even someone who's Mark Spitz, he's an absolute expert Olympic gold medal winner swimmer, he should not traverse this dangerous river. And the pasuk in Iyov is admonishing the Satan and telling him, this is a danger even for you. The Satan is the same as the Malach HaMavos. They're one and the same. He doesn't have reshus to traverse this river that's going to come out of the Kodesh Kadosh. All this has to be understood as metaphors for Kabbalistic, profound ideas. And another member with regard to this Nachal, Omer Pinchas Mishum Rab Yeshua Tzipora, Mayon Hayotze Mibeis Kodesh Kadoshim, the spring that comes forward flows from the base Kodesh Kadoshim B'Tchila in its source. In other words, in the place where it comes out of the Kodesh Kadoshim, it is a very thin kind of flow of water. Doma lekarne chagovim. The Gemara uses the example of the antennas of grasshoppers that are very thin. But Kevan Shigil Pesach Heichal, once the water already reaches the opening from the Heichal going out into the area of Beinul Mizbeach, and from there to the Azara, Nase Yechut Shel Shasi, it already becomes as thick as a woolen thread. Even Shigil Ulam, when it gets flows out of the Heichal into the Ulam, now we're going from west to east. Nase Kechut Shel Erev. So in the process of weaving, there's a warp and a woof, one going vertically, the other going horizontally. And the Arev is thicker than the Shsi. So wait a minute, which one is the Shsi and which one is the Arev? I always have to review this in my mind. He says that the Shasi is called the warp, W-A-R-P, and the Erev is called the woof, W-O-O-F. The woof passes back and forth through the warp, and it must be made thicker. So if I understand correctly, the Shasi is vertical, goes up and down, and the Erev goes from right to left. Okay, now the water continues. The Kevan Shigia El Pesach HaZorah. Now the flow of the water reaches going east, as we said before, the opening into the Azorah, the entranceway into the Azorah, and now it gets really thick. It's Pipach Kotam. It's as wide as the bottle cap of a small bottle. Behind this nan, and this is reflected in the Mishnah in the second chapter of Midos, Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov Omer, and here we turn to Daf Ein Ches, Mayim Mefachim Asidim Lios Yotzim Mitachas Miftan Abayis. Mefachim means Miloshen Pach. Pach is the opening on top of this vessel. Let's see if he has a fancy word for the vessel. Flask. Okay. See, my English is limited. Flask. And ultimately, there will be a zrima, a flow of water that'll have the width of the mouth of a flask, and it's going to come out of the base Kodesh Kadoshim of the third base Hamikdash that we're waiting for every day. Now, what does it mean, mitachas miftan abayis? Meaning under the entranceway into the Azorah. Let's see. So far, I don't see anything. Mikan v'elech. Now this Nachal and its waters have passed the entranceway into the Azora. They're out of the Azora. And Miskaber the old. This river, so to speak, again, it's right now, it's just a small river, is getting more and more powerful, more thick. Ashemagiel Pesach base David. That's already out of Yerushalayim, what we call Tziyah. The Kevan Shemagil Pesach base David. Nasa kenachal shotef. It becomes like a full-fledged river that has rapids. Shebo rochatzin. Rochatzin means tovlin. Zavim v'zavos nidos v'yolos. And they're retire themselves from tumah. Okay. Now, he has a long introduction here, background about the laws of a Zav and a Zava. I'm not sure if we need all that right now. We just want to say that this river will become a mikvah for Tara mitumasam in the cases of Zavin and Zavos, Nida v'Yoldo, Shenemar, Posuk in Zechariah. Ayom ahu yeh makar niftach lebeis David u'liyoshvei Yerushalayim lechatos u'lenida. That Liosid Lavo, this river will flow out of the Beis Hamikdash and they'll take water for the Ephra Paraduma, for Tfilas Nida. Omer Rav Yosef Mikan, from this pasuk, that the Nachal will produce enough water that it's royal at Tfilas Nida. And that's Chakli Achar Shigia LePesach Beis David. She'oz is gaber v'nases shotev is yehei remez l'nida for tfilas nida shetzricha leishev al tzavara b'mayim, that the depth of the water of a mikvah for tara purposes should reach to her neck, then she can submerge herself. What the Gemara says, less hilchus kavaseh. So what does this mean, less hilchus kavaseh? Rav Yosef wanted to derive from this a remez for nida, that tfilas nida means that she has to sit in the water and it reaches her neck. Ein halacha Rav Yosef ela kol sheyesh b'mikvar boim sa ovelis bo af al picha eino amok. Meaning, Rav Yosef wanted to add to the shear of a mikvah above 440 sa. You have to also add enough water so that when she stands inside the water will reach her neck level. But we don't pass it like that. We don't care how deep the water is, as long as it's got our boim sa. Okay. Now, what I would like to do now, if you don't mind, is to study the Yalkut Biurim, which we haven't done in the last couple of days. So we're really working on two levels here. On one level, we're moving fast, relatively fast, because a lot of these Gemaras lend themselves to quick learning. But on the other hand, we're looking for points that are more, more iyun, more in-depth. So I'm opening up the Yalkut HaBiurim. And let's see what we could learn together now. We say that there are 5 categories of inu, and the Gemara's language is very precise. Hani chamisha inuyim keneged mi. There are 5 inuyim that are written in the Torah. And Tosfos now raises the following question. When you count the inuyim as they're enumerated in our Mishnah, there are actually 6. In the Torah, it only says inui 5 times. And he quotes here a number of answers in the Al-Kabirim. The first is from the Chida. Azulai was his name. He wrote a book called Masechet Yoma. I have it. When I say I have it, I mean I have the original. And he says the following, based on the Ramah, Mipana. Mitchila Savar, Stama de Gemara, the Shar Inuyim de Rabban, Vrakachila Ushasiya Doraisa. Right now, the Gemara is of the opinion that of all the Inuyim, only Achila and Shasiya Doraisa, all the rest are de Rabbanon. And therefore, it's pashut that Achila and Shasiya Michad Kra de Inui Nafka. We can derive both of them from one pasuk of Inu, because that's all we need to derive, is that the Torah prohibits Achila and Shasiya on Yom Kippur. But Achrei Shemitaretz, the Mehei Kroi, Inui Yalfina, that 5 times the Torah repeats the word Inui, Al Karchach to Kol HaInuyim Doraisa. From each pasuk, you're deriving another category, and they're all Doraisa. There's no compelling logic that Achila and Shasiya should be derived from one pasuk. Mistaber shekol inui tzarech pasuk b'fnei atzmo. And now that you have a whole list of inuyim, all told 6, each one should require a pasuk. And therefore, Tosfos asks this question: Shisa havim. Umetaretz the akati shasiya b'chalashi. Even if we derive 5, or shall I say, all the categories of inui as doraisa, nevertheless, achila and shasiya are integrated into one inui, one category unto themselves. Ishsiya b'chlal achila. V'havi inui echad. Mashenkin shar inuim kol echad. Havi inui chaluk v'tzarech pasuk b'fnei atzmo. That's the Masechet Yoma. Now we go on to Tosefes Yom Kippur. The Makshin Savar Sheyesh Shisha Ella Dachila Kfar Mafkinan Li El Mikra V'Dianecha V'Arivecha in the Parsha Meat of Man. The Torah used the word Vayanecha, which is Inui, and it's referring to Achila. So therefore, the Makshon is going to ask the following question: Lilmod od chamisha inuyim milvad achila. You're going to now have to derive 5 other categories of inui in addition to the category of inui of achila, which is derived from the Parsha of Man, where the Torah says explicitly Vayanech. So now the Gemara has a Gavaldic Kasha. From the Vayanecha, you're going to derive Achila. And there are 5 other categories of Inui, and there are only 4 additional Lashonos of Inui. We're missing 1. And the answer is Chamisha Inui Ksive. And what does that mean? There are only 5 inuyim. The answer is that Shasiya's Bechlal Achila doesn't have a separate independent category as inu. So therefore, at the end of the day, all we need is 5 psukim. Now he quotes a tshuva the Beis Avraham. Shemitchila shemaksha hei nuyim keneged mi savar amakshan sheyimtza psukim amochichim kol echad al inui mefurosh. V'sagile b'chamisha psukim al achila shesiya rechitza sicha unilas hasan. Al tashva shemita lo tzarach la mishum he came into Balkeri ton tfilo rechitza ton right kevan shebalkeri ton tfilo rechitza asura memela ena yochel shamish mitasa. And once we prohibit on Yom Kippur rechitza, then ipso facto, without having to derive a separate isur tashmish hamita, there's no possibility of tashmish hamita because he's a balkari and he needs tefillah, and he cannot implement tefillah on Yom Kippur. Now again, after the Gemara gives the answer that 5 times it says inu in the Torah, ein hechrech lilmo dafka hei nuyim ubeneim rechitza dilma nilman hei nuyim v'tasha mita b'chlal rechitza urechitza ein b'chlal maksha devi'inon shehei kro lilmo kula. So the Gemara is asking that we need a pasuk for rechitza, and we only have 5 psukim. That was the Gemara's catch. Okay. Now the Gemara wants to derive rechitza from the pasuk vatovo kemayim b'kirbo u'b'kshemen b'atzmosa. Now, what does that mean? We have a Mishnah that explicitly, in Masechet Shabbos, explicitly derives from a pasuk, from this pasuk, sicha kishtia. So how is the Gemara contradicting a Mishnah and saying, no, this pasuk is teaching me rechitza. We need it for sicha. So there are 2 answers offered here. One is by the Tosefes Yom Kippurim, b'tirates, sheyoda Rav Zutra Mishnah, el desava shedivrei Mishnah einem el asmachta v'remez bi'alma k'dei lilmod lesar gam sicha she'ena shel tainu. But the Ikar HaPasuk is talking about rechitza, not shesiya. So now, if the pasuk itself is talking about rechitza, and that's why Rav Zutra derives rechitza from this pasuk, so then why does the Mishnah in Masechet Shabbos derive sicha from this pasuk? El shagamar dochet dvarav diim nomar sheikar pasuk medaber berechitzim kein ein kana filu remez lilmod sicha kishtia. We're really left in a bind because if this pasuk is teaching me rechitza, where and how will we derive an Isa Sicha from this? And now he quotes the Shara Melech. Our Gemara's kasha is because Ikar HaPasuk Lelamed Sherechitza Kesicha Efshal Lilmod Mikan Al sicha kishsia afilu b'derech zecher bi'alma v'leachar shalamad b'rechitza me'ayisur b'soch lo sachti efshel lilmod gam al rechitza v'gam al sicha kishtia me'apasuk v'tovo kemayim b'kir. Okay. Now, the Gemara says that sicha is kishtia. And what are the long-range implications? He says, the Torah prohibits shtia bechela, but not sicha. Lo neser sicha el biyom kippur or truma. So it means that sicha is not really exactly kishtia. I mean, if that be the case, then sicha would be prohibited even in the case of chela. But as far as Yom Kippur is concerned, there we're going to say that sicha is prohibited and apply the principle of sicha harehi kishasi. Now, what I want to do with you, again, we don't have that much time, but maybe we just get a haskalah, is Tosas Dibra Maskil Disnan Minayin Lesicha Kehi Shehi Kishasiyah. Now, which is the part of the Tosas I wanted to focus on? I'm looking for the case of Truma. Oh, I think I found it. Now, this Tosfos starts almost at the top of the page and ends with Minayin, with the next Tosfos, Minayin. If you go up from the bottom of the Tosfos, approximately maybe 12 lines, a little bit more, Ubemesefta Krisus, Erikama, he quotes the Gemara Krisus Daf Zayin, Amrinon, Kohen, Shesach B'Shemen Shel Truma. So the Kohen took Shemen of Truma, and instead of drinking it because he didn't want to drink Shemen, he used the oil to anoint his body. And that is, not only is he allowed to do that, but he's obligated to do that. Ben Bito Yisrael misagel bo v'eino choshesh. His daughter, this Kohen's daughter, is married to a non-Kohen. And therefore his grandson, through his daughter, is not a Kohen. Now we have an Isur, Misa b'dei Shamayim, if a Zar enjoys the benefit of Truma. And yet, the Gemara in Krisus says he's allowed to invite his grandson, who's not a Kohen, misagel bo. Ihavi doraisa, if sicha kishti is doraisa, then haya aser b'chol inyan. How can we allow a non-Kohen to be misagel in the shemen that was anointed on the body of a Kohen? The shemen has kedushas truma, and a zar, if he exploits and enjoys the benefit of truma, we're holding that at sicha kishtia. So when he rubs his body against this oil that is truma, then at that point he is like eating the truma. Because sicha kishtia, Tosfos now is only being the sicha kishtia doraisa. So how could the Gemara in Krisus allow his grandson to rub up against the shemen on his body when his grandson is a non-Kohen? So I don't know, Don, you said yesterday you were picking up your grandchildren. I forget, but I think you told me these were your daughter's children. Am I right?
I have two daughters, yes.
But these daughters, are they married to Kohanim?
One is.
So let's make believe, I don't know which grandchildren you were picking up, but let's, for argument's sake, just imagine you're picking up the grandchildren that came from your daughter who's married to a non-Kohen.
Non-Kohen, okay.
Okay, non-Kohen. So that means that those grandchildren are not Cohen. Now you took Shemen Shel Truma, and you're allowed to, even obligated to do so, and you smeared it on your body. And the Gemara in Krisus establishes on Daf Zion that your grandchildren who are not Kohanim are allowed to rub against this oil in a Maisa Sicha. They're anointing themselves, right? They're rubbing the Shemen Shel Truma on their bodies, and now we're holding that Sicha Kishtia, that halacha defines Sicha Shtia. Now imagine if you had, let's say, a bottle of apple juice that was truma, and now your grandson would drink that apple juice. That would be a very severe violation. Again, I don't know how old he is. That's not. I'm not getting into that question. But how can you allow sicha on shemen shel truma on the body of the Kohen when sicha is kishtia? Sicha is kishtia, and his grandson is not a Kohen, or his granddaughter is not a Kohen. That's a severe violation. It's as if he drank any beverage that was truma. So believe Neder, I hope and I pray that by tomorrow I can figure out Tosfos's answer here to this question. It's a very basic question that has to be understood.
Fortunately for me, I picked up the grandson who happens to be the son of a Kohen also.
Okay then. So we'll stop here. And Don, you're still here tomorrow, right? And next week, we're not sure whether you'll be able to plug in or not. And
Sunday I'm here. It's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday's the problem.
Right. So Sunday, I think I'm here as well. I might not be here. I might be in Harnof, but we should be able to have the shir. But if there's any change, but tomorrow is a regular day. Okay then? Okay. All right. Kol Tov, have a great